In this video, we're going to demonstrate formation skydiving techniques by utilizing state-of-the-art virtual reality technology. Welcome to Skydive University's Virtual Reality Classroom. This technology is a powerful illustration tool that will provide us a very unique perspective. This will also be combined with air-to-air videography to help you define your performance objectives. It might surprise you to learn that these skydivers are simply using a combination of fundamental skills to achieve this level of performance. These fundamental skills are actually quite easy to understand and master. If you are a relative novice, this video will help you develop your understanding of the fundamental skills all good skydivers must possess. Before we can get started, however, we need to take some time to develop some common terminology and a good basic understanding of some of the underlying principles.
Something that formation skydiving requires is that we have the ability to move from place to place in order to build formations. What exactly do we mean when we say this? Imagine being suspended in the air at 13,000 feet and a portion of the air becomes visible, forming a ring. This ring provides a reference frame that is attached to the air. We could then have a series of such rings that extend all the way down to the ground. Now let's move to the center of the first ring. If we look up, we see a formation. It is falling straight down towards the ground at a constant speed. Now instead, let's imagine that we're falling along with someone in free fall. It would look something like this. Here, we can imagine some reference grid which is falling straight down at a constant speed. We will use this as our local reference frame throughout this video. Now we can define our place by describing our heading and center of mass location relative to this grid. For example, right now, we could say that he is sitting still in the center of the grid. Now that we know what we mean by our place in the air, we can define a move. A move is simply going from place to place. One of the goals of this video is to help you improve your ability to move from place to place in a straight line. Finally, from this example, we can begin to see how making small, controlled moves from place to place is a technique that we can use to go from one formation to the next.
Now that you understand the idea of making a move, you may be getting the uncomfortable feeling that there's an infinite number of moves that you need to master. But let's see what we can do to simplify the situation by beginning to understand the distinct characteristics of different types of movement.
Formation skydiving is accomplished in a three-dimensional space. Any movement in a three-dimensional space can be defined as a combination of fundamental movements. We will refer to these fundamental movements as our degrees of freedom. These arrows show the directions we need to be able to move for successful formation skydiving. The first type of movement we need to look at is called static, in which in fact there is no movement. In other words, we are just sitting still. Next, there is translational motion, where we move our center of mass from one place to a new place. This is accomplished by using three more fundamental types of movement: forward and backwards, up and down, and sideways movement, right and left. These translational skills will allow us to place our center anywhere we want. Rotational motion is where we change heading by rotating around our center. The only rotation we need to define for formation skydiving is controlling our heading. Finally, our fundamental moves can be combined to produce more exotic types of movement. This combination of fundamentals is called superpositional movement. Learning to perform these superpositional moves should be our ultimate goal for quality formation skydiving.
Now that we understand more about what types of moves we need to be able to make, let's look at the design of a body position that will work for formation skydiving. It is based on one of the most fundamental concepts in skydiving, the principle of stability.
In our sport, like any other sport, there is a basic stance from which the moves of the game are initiated. The body position shown here illustrates an idealized, strongly stable, neutral box body position. To evaluate your neutral body position, here are some practical things to look for. First, to sit still, your neutral position must be consistent in shape. You must trust that you can be relaxed, passive, and still remain stable. Next, you want to look to see that it is generally arched so that there is a low center of gravity. This increases stability. You also need to be able to arrange your shoulder and elbow joints so that a line connecting your hands is out in front of your head. This way, you can build formations without your head getting in the way. Your stance should be wide. We can measure this by imagining a line that connects the elbows and knees, which should enclose a large area. This large base of support enhances your stability. You also want to maintain a left-right symmetry. This will keep your center of mass in the center of your base of support. You can do this by disciplining your flying style to keep your spine straight, because a curve in the spine will cause a noticeable loss of stability. Also, as part of the left-right symmetry, we should always see an equal angle under each arm and an equal angle at the bend of the knee. It should generally be considered a problem if you see your arms or legs working independently. This body position is strongly stable, which is a serious advantage to the novice skydiver. As your experience allows and as you develop a need for it, your body position may evolve into the sportier position shown here. As you gain experience by making more jumps, this transition position can easily be superimposed on top of the strongly stable body position presented in this video.
The concept of natural stability needs to be understood and respected. It provides a powerful tool that will help you with your skydiving. Or, if ignored, it can be a dramatic handicap that will retard your abilities in the air. The body position discipline that we just discussed is an important factor in successful formation skydiving. If you're having any problems in the air, look first to your body position fundamentals for a solution. The remainder of the information in this video will be presented in a series of modules